can you change my hair color? She's like, okay. So,
How you been?
I've been good. I've been good.
Good, good. So I shared a little bit about your story, coming out to a class and then getting involved in the wholesaling aspect, which they're learning right now. Tomorrow and at the end of the day today, we're going to dive into rehabbing houses. You're at the tail end of she's at the tail end, her and her mom, of her first buy, fix, and flip property that Linda sold you. But I want to talk a little bit about I'd like you to tell, some folks in this room may not know your story. If you could tell them a little bit about the backstory of how you got back into real estate.
Sure. So, as some of you know, I married my high school, college sweetheart, Robyn Dixon, who played in the NBA for about 7 years. So we lived an amazing life. $1 million, $2 million, $2.5 million a year salary. Like that's real nice, right? But at some point, just a bunch of stuff happened, and he was no longer playing in the NBA, and we had to fall back on something. And there was a time when there was nothing left, and so it took a couple of years of just struggling and trying to figure out what's next. And by the grace of God, I came across Marcel's Facebook messages about his real estate investing classes, and my mother and I showed up. And now by that time, Juan and I were back on our feet, but I was of the mind frame that I need to do something more so that this situation never happens to my family again. I need a backup plan. I need another stream of income. We need just more security and something that's more, that has more longevity and that I can build upon and pass down to my kids and all that type of stuff. And so the real estate investing was really attractive to me. So I attended the class. I was totally hooked on everything Marcel was saying, and we started working together immediately. We learned the wholesale process. My mother and I are doing this together because my mother has just a interest in real estate, and she has her own business, but my mother's 69, and I want to be able to allow her to do something that she really loves doing, and she really loves real estate and investing and watching HGTV all day. And so, I just said, this would be awesome for us to do this together at her age, allow her to get out of her office and just do something that she's really passionate about. So that was kind of the mind frame, and we got rolling. We started with the wholesaling, and we instantly just wanted more. And we started asking Marcel, look, we want to find a house to flip. We want to get into flipping. And so that's kind of how we evolved and how we got here. And
right.
Marcel has been an amazing mentor. And, we absolutely could not have done what we've done so far without him.
Thank you, Robyn. So I want to show some pictures of this house you're currently renovating. So this is a property on Virginia Avenue in Park Heights. Anybody familiar with Virginia Avenue? Okay. So this is in a 2900 block, and that's the before picture. The house to the left. So you see all the trees, the bushes. So this is during construction. Now, below is a picture of a bathroom and a kitchen. If you watched the show last season, you probably saw Robyn walk into that nasty-looking kitchen. There was mold falling from the ceiling. The house was a wreck. It was drug paraphernalia on the floor. And that's one thing that I commend Robyn and her mom on, is that they were willing to go into a blighted neighborhood and invest their money. And you have to be willing to take calculated risks. And they had a big why behind it. Of course, sustaining their family's wealth and building wealth, but also changing neighborhoods, because this house has changed that neighborhood in a certain way. More investors are starting to invest in that neighborhood now. There are news articles within the last year in Baltimore Sun about developers coming in to renovate schools in that neighborhood. More homes were being renovated by investors. So just by you taking a calculated risk, there's always a ripple effect that happens. So Robyn and her mom ran into some problems. Like, we're not going to sit here on stage and say, they bought the house, they fixed it up, and boom, they made money, okay? This house is about to hit the market within the next week or two. The beautiful thing about the Inner Circle is that our members, we've created a community, people now call it an ecosystem, where everybody is helping everybody move up in their businesses. So Linda Henryhan, she sold Robyn and her mom this house, okay? Then Connie, one of our Inner Circle members, loaned Robyn and her mom money at 5%, okay? That's unheard of, okay? But because Robyn and her mom's in the Inner Circle, she was able to get a loan from another member. Then watch this. Nishan, who just was on stage, she is the listing agent for the property. So you see how we keep the money within our ecosystem? Okay, so let's talk more about this deal. So this picture in the middle is Robyn's crew. Actually, they've done demolition and they're putting in the plumbing, okay, in the basement. So they added a full bathroom in the basement. It was an unfinished basement. Whenever, and we'll talk about this when we go over rehabbing houses, whenever you renovate a house and you finish a basement, you have to waterproof the basement. You want to write that down. I see so many people, and I will not, as a real estate wholesaler, I have cut, meaning fired, investor buyers from my list because they'll renovate a house in Baltimore City and they will not waterproof the basement because they're saving $4,000 to $8,000. However, the homeowner will have to deal with that at a later time, okay? Meaning, when they buy the house, they move in, and it floods, they now have a mold problem. So I'm not in this for the money. I'm in this to help people create better quality of life. So I've fired several investors who do not waterproof their basements just to make more money, okay? So if you're leasing a property, if you're buying a property to sell retail, you have to waterproof your basements. There's no way around it if you're going to do it the right way. So this is the finished product of Robyn's house. So soon you'll be able to, it looks really good, right? Robyn, how did that feel? Because it was a journey through this process. How did it feel? Because you and your mom, first time doing a full rehab, you probably didn't see this when you started. It was hard to kind of see that.
Oh, absolutely. It's so hard to envision what it is you're trying to do when you're working with, what I was working with in the beginning. I mean, it was a dump. I'm not, I can't sugarcoat it. I can't make it look any better than it was. And it was a process, like Marcel said. It wasn't perfect. We actually went through some issues with our general contractor where at some point he was no longer with us for whatever reason. And that really, really held us up because, when you start a project, you kind of go in with an agreement with your contractor that this is how much we're going to pay for this project and for this work. And you say, okay, that sounds good, that fits my budget. So now I'm without a contractor and I have to interview 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 contractors to get to a price that sounded okay to me. And, we fortunately, we were not trying to rush this project because this is our first one. We wanted to take our time. We paid cash for the house, so it wasn't like we were constantly putting out, a mortgage note every month on a house that's just sitting. So we weren't under pressure or under fire to urgently finish the project. So that's why we took our time in hiring contractors. Otherwise, I probably, if we were trying to finish it, we'd just take the first one and say, get rolling, and then he would have charged us, twice as more than what our original contractor charged. So
Absolutely.
Going through that process and eventually finding the contractor who was reliable, who actually worked, for a good price, actually is probably better than my original contractor. So sometimes there's like a silver lining in problems, because the contractor we ended up with was more efficient than our original contractor. Going through those processes, that stalled us for a good 3 months, probably.
Yeah, 3-4 months.
Yeah, because we took our time.
Just to segue really quick, because you dropped some nuggets. Be slow to hire, quick to fire in this business. Slow to hire, quick to fire. Okay? And one thing that I watched you and your mom do, you didn't just bring contractors to the property. They went out and looked at those contractors' jobs. And that's key. You want to work with people that already have things already going on. Not they're showing you pictures in their cell phone. We want to see projects that you're already working on. Okay?
Yeah, because they can get those pictures off of the internet.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, that's my work. No. Take me to your project. Let us talk to your client, all of that. So that is very important. Do not rush your project because you just want to get in and get out. You want your money back. You want your profit. You have to be able to be willing to be patient. You
Absolutely.
really do. So anyway, once we got to this, I was just so proud and elated of everything that we did, everything we went to, the finished product, and the feeling, that the emotion that really was strongest for me was like, wow, this is going to be somebody's home. We really made a house that someone's going to buy, a home where they're going to love to be. They're going to be happy. They're going to walk in. They're going to feel good. And my family has very strong Baltimore roots. And so when people ask me, where do I want to flip houses in, I say Baltimore. Because I want people to feel good in the house they live in. I want them to have pride in their home, pride in their neighborhood. And if we can start with one house at a time, then maybe it will be infectious, and maybe it will spread around the neighborhood, and people will start to take pride in where they live. And so,
absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you. So this for me, it's not only a financial thing. Of course, we want to make money. We want to make lots of money, but it's almost in a way, it's like it's helping me. It's helping others, and
yes.
And it's helping the community. And so that feeling of like walking here and saying, oh my gosh, like I would want to live here. I would want to live here. So
now your children don't, though. I remember the first day you brought your son to the house, and he was a little scared.
Oh yeah, my little one. So we were visiting the property before we had started working on it, and he's like, "Why are we here? Are we moving here, please?" He was like, "Could I go to the car? Oh my gosh!" And then so I brought him once we finished it, and both of my kids were floored. They were so excited, and they weren't trying to leave right away.
Right.
So it's actually kind of cool to be able to show my kids, like, look, this is where we started, this is where it went, and now they understand the process.
Planting
of
seeds.
Real estate investing, and while right now it's like this for them, that's something that's going to make an impact on them. So I just really, you have to be here for the right reasons and not just for the money. If you're rehabbing a house, don't skimp on things. Like he said, do the proper things for the homeowner, because your name is on this house, and you never know. Like, you might flip a house, and if you skimp on everything, then that person may tell all their friends, don't ever buy a house from Mary and Billy because they so cheap and blah, 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 blah. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, your name is on this, and this is something that people, you want them to live here for 30 years. And so just think about not only the money, but think about what you're doing to impact other people's lives as well.
Excellent, excellent. Robyn, thank you for sharing with us. Let's give Robyn Dixon a round of applause.
Thank you.